There's a moment in every person's life where they know something's wrong, but they can't quite put their finger on it. It's not an explosion, not a sudden blow. It's a whisper, a tiny shift in the air, a crack in the veneer that you can't unsee. I felt that whisper a few weeks ago at the corporate party. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't searching for signs. I had no intention of unraveling anything. I just wanted to go, enjoy a few drinks, and not think about work for a night. But that's the thing about life. It has a way of throwing things in your face when you least expect it. It was supposed to be an ordinary night. Everyone was there. The usual crowd, the typical chatter about quarterly reports, promotions, and office gossip. Claire had asked me to come with her. "It'll be fun," she said. "We never go out anymore." Her words were sweet, but there was something about her tone that night, something urgent, almost as if she were trying to convince herself more than me. We arrived just after the sun had dipped, the sky painted with shades of pink and orange. The bar was buzzing, with the dull hum of voices echoing around us. I could already feel the weight of my tie and the tightness in my collar. It was too warm, but I kept my jacket on anyway. She looked great. She always did. Her dress was simple but elegant, and her smile was warm, just like every other night we spent together. Or so I thought. Claire drifted off as soon as we entered, talking to a group of people from her department. I didn't mind. I wasn't in the mood to mingle anyway. The crowd made me uncomfortable. I had one drink, then another. Slowly, I started to feel the world slipping away from me. I was surrounded by people I knew, yet I felt completely alone. Claire was laughing, talking, being charming, as she always was. But something was different. Maybe it was the way she was laughing with him. I hadn't noticed him at first, just another guy in the crowd. But then, the longer I watched, the more I realized. He wasn't just another guy. He was the guy. He was the one who lingered too long in conversations, who made her laugh just a little too much. And she was letting him. She was letting him get closer, to cross that invisible line that I knew shouldn't be crossed. It wasn't that he was especially charming or attractive. No, it was something else. It was the way they had this secret language, an invisible connection that I wasn't part of. I tried to shake the thought away, but it kept coming back. The way her eyes brightened when he spoke. The way she didn't pull away when his hand brushed against her arm. I tried to tell myself that I was imagining things, that I was just being paranoid. But as the night went on, the feeling intensified. I needed some air. I couldn't take it anymore. I slipped outside onto the balcony of the bar, leaning against the cold metal railing. The city lights were scattered below like little dots of forgotten stars, and for a moment, I felt calm. The noise of the party was muffled, and I let the chill night air clear my mind. But my thoughts kept racing, bouncing between doubt and disbelief. And then I saw her. Claire was standing near the door, talking to him again. This time, they were standing close, closer than before. Their heads were leaning in toward one another, as though they were sharing something intimate. My chest tightened. I didn't want to see it. I wanted to turn around, walk back inside, and pretend none of this was happening. But I couldn't. I watched as he leaned in and whispered something in her ear. It was just for a second, but that second felt like a lifetime. And then she smiled, that smile, the one she only gave me. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't the smile I knew. It was something else. A smile that was full of secrets. My heart pounded in my chest as I turned and walked back into the bar, pretending like I hadn't just witnessed the beginning of something I wasn't ready to confront. Claire came back inside a few minutes later, acting as if nothing had changed. She gave me a kiss on the cheek, said she was having a great time, and suggested we head out soon. But I knew. I didn't need any more signs. I had seen it. The way she looked at him. The way her body language had shifted when he was around. And suddenly, everything seemed too perfect. The life we had built, the stability we thought we shared. It was all just a thin layer of ice, cracking beneath the weight of an unspoken truth. I didn't say anything to her that night. I didn't want to make a scene. I wasn't ready. But as we drove home, I couldn't stop the thoughts from swirling in my head. The whole drive, I kept replaying what I had seen, what I hadn't seen before. The cracks were there, but I had ignored them for so long. Now, I couldn't look away. When we got home, Claire went straight to bed, but I stayed up, pacing. The questions burned in my mind. Had it started already? Was it just a momentary lapse? Or had something been brewing long before tonight? And that's when I heard it. A quiet whisper from the other room. Not after what you did. I had no idea what I was saying. It wasn't a decision. It wasn't planned. It was just a reflex, a raw, instinctive response to everything I had seen. But it was too late. The truth had already begun to surface. The next morning, Claire was as cheerful as always. She hummed to herself as she made coffee, the smell of it filling the kitchen. I stood there, pretending to be busy with my phone, but my mind was somewhere else. The image of her laughing with him, that smile, her smile, still burned in my brain. I didn't want to confront her. Not yet. I didn't know what I'd say, what I could possibly accuse her of. But the truth was there, waiting like a bomb about to explode. I asked her about the night, casually. "So, did you enjoy the party?" I said, my voice too calm, even to my own ears. She looked at me, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Yeah, it was great. Everyone was so fun, and I met a few new people. You should have seen how much attention I got." She laughed, shaking her head as if it were all just a joke. I swear, sometimes I wonder if they invite me to these things just to get me to liven up the room. I smiled, but it felt stiff, forced. I didn't say anything else. The conversation shifted, and I went along with it. But the truth was, I wasn't listening to her words. I was thinking about that man, the stranger who now had a place in my mind. Why was she so comfortable with him? Why hadn't she mentioned him to me before? I didn't like the idea that someone else was pulling her in a direction I wasn't even aware of. Later that day, I decided to do something I hadn't done in years. I snooped. It wasn't a proud moment, but the suspicion gnawed at me like a hunger I couldn't shake. I started with her phone. She always left it lying around, thinking I'd never bother. Her texts were innocent enough, just the usual messages from friends, family, a few work things. But then I saw it, a thread between Claire and him. His name was Noah. It didn't sound familiar, and as I read through their exchanges, I realized they'd been talking more than I'd realized. Their messages weren't anything overtly suspicious, but there was an underlying tone to them. Playful, flirtatious. Inside jokes. A few emojis that made my stomach churn. The last message from him was just a single word, tonight. I felt my heart drop. Tonight? Was he going to show up at our house? Was this something more than just a fleeting flirtation? I wanted to drop the phone and walk away. I wanted to pretend I hadn't seen anything, but I couldn't. I scrolled further. There was more. A picture from the party. Claire had sent it to Noah, a photo of her smiling with a drink in her hand. But what caught my attention was the caption, "Best night ever, but I wish you were here with me." I couldn't breathe. It was a small thing, a simple message, but it hit like a freight train. Best night ever. I had thought I was part of her life, but here she was, sharing moments with someone else. I didn't know what to do. Confront her? Ask her about Noah? I wasn't ready for the answer. I wasn't sure I wanted to know. So, I did what any confused person would do. I pushed it all down. Pretended it didn't matter. But it did. The rest of the day passed in a blur. I watched Claire go about her routine, but I couldn't focus. I kept imagining them together, Noah and Claire, talking, laughing, maybe even touching. It was that evening when I finally decided to act. I had to know the truth. I couldn't wait any longer. I needed to confront her, not just about Noah, but about everything that had been building up. I had to face the whispers, the suspicions, the lies. That night, when she came home from work, I told her we needed to talk. Her smile faltered for just a second, but she quickly regained her composure. "Of course, babe. What's up?" I wasn't sure how to start. The words felt stuck in my throat. But then, I simply said it. "I know about Noah." Her face went pale. It was a fleeting expression, but it was enough to tell me everything I needed to know. The smile faded, and her eyes shifted, avoiding mine. "Victor, she started, but I cut her off. "Don't lie to me, Claire. I saw the messages. I saw the picture." My voice shook, but I couldn't stop myself. "Who is he? What's going on?" There was a long silence. Her eyes darted around, and for the first time, I saw the cracks in her facade. He's just a friend, okay?" she said, the words coming out in a rush. But it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the truth. "Victor, please, you're overreacting. It's nothing like you think." But I wasn't sure I could believe her anymore. Her words didn't reassure me. They only made everything feel worse. Just a friend. The phrase kept echoing in my head, like a lie she hoped I'd swallow. But I couldn't. Not anymore. I looked at her, my gaze sharp, searching for any hint of truth. "A friend, Claire?" I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Then why did you delete the messages? Why didn't you tell me about him before? Why didn't you mention that you two were texting during the party?" Her eyes flickered, and for a moment, I saw her guilt, if only for a second. She looked down, her fingers twisting nervously around the hem of her sleeve. Victor, I swear, it's not what you think. Noah and I, we just get along. We talked about work, about life. It's nothing. I could tell she was lying. The desperation in her voice, the way she was avoiding eye contact, it all pointed to one thing. She was hiding something. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to know exactly what. Why were you so close with him at the party? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Why did it feel like you two were in your own world while I was standing there, completely invisible? She hesitated, as if weighing whether to tell the truth or keep spinning her web of excuses. I wasn't trying to hide anything, Victor. We were talking. You were having fun with your coworkers, and I was talking to him. But the way she said it felt rehearsed. Too perfect. I could see right through it. I took a step closer to her, not in anger, but in disbelief. Claire, this isn't just about some harmless conversation, is it? I saw the way you looked at him. I saw the messages. You've been keeping things from me. What else have you been hiding? She took a deep breath, her face tightening as if the truth was something too heavy for her to carry. I didn't want to hurt you, Victor. I never meant for it to go this far. The words hit me like a slap. I never meant for it to go this far. What was she saying? Was this more than just a friendship? Had she crossed a line she couldn't come back from? I stood there, frozen for a moment, the silence between us thick and suffocating. There was no turning back now. I needed to know everything. Tell me the truth, Claire. Did you kiss him? The question hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Her face turned pale, and I saw her body stiffen. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then, her voice barely a whisper, she confessed, it was one kiss. Just one, and I regretted it immediately. I felt my world tilt on its axis. One kiss. The room seemed to spin around me, the walls closing in. The image of her and Noah together, laughing, whispering, it all made sense now. My stomach twisted, not with anger, but with betrayal. She took a step towards me, her eyes pleading. Victor, please understand, it was a mistake. It shouldn't have happened. But it did, and I've been trying to forget about it, to pretend it didn't mean anything. It was just a moment. A moment? That word hit me like ice water. How could something so small, so fleeting, feel like it was destroying everything? I don't know if I can forgive you for this, I said, my voice cracking. I don't know if I even want it anymore. Claire's face crumpled, her hands reaching out to me. Please, don't say that. I love you. I made a huge mistake, and I'm so sorry. But her apology didn't make it hurt any less. It was too late for apologies now. The damage had been done. And as I looked at her, I realized that I couldn't go back to the way things were before. The silence between us was deafening. Claire's words hung in the air like a weight I couldn't shake off. One kiss. Just one. But that one kiss had shattered everything. I wanted to scream, to ask her how she could do this to me. How could she betray me like this? But instead, I stood there, frozen. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of it all, but it just didn't add up. I could see the tears welling up in her eyes, but all I felt was numbness. I never thought it would go this far, she repeated, her voice shaking. It was a mistake. A moment of weakness. I swear, Victor, it didn't mean anything. But I wasn't sure I believed her. I wanted to. I wanted to go back to the life we had before, where everything was simple, where trust wasn't something I had to question every day. But now, every word she spoke felt like another crack in the foundation of our relationship. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I asked, barely able to keep my voice steady. Why keep it hidden? If it was really nothing, why did you lie about it? She shook her head, her lips trembling. I didn't know how to tell you. I was scared of losing you. I didn't want to ruin everything. But she already had. The trust we had built over the years had been shattered in an instant, and no amount of apologies would ever fix it. I don't know if I can get past this, Claire, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. How can I? How do I just forget that you've been hiding something like this from me? She stepped closer, her hands reaching out to me, but I took a step back. I couldn't let her touch me, not now, not after everything. I'm sorry, she repeated, her voice breaking. I never meant to hurt you. Please, Victor, don't leave me. We can work through this. But I wasn't sure I wanted to work through it. The doubt had crept in, and now, it was suffocating me. Was this the only thing Claire had kept from me? Or was there more I didn't know? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. I didn't recognize it, but when I read the message, my heart sank. It was from Noah. Had a good time last night. Let me know if you want to pick up where we left off. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I hadn't been imagining things. Claire hadn't just kissed him once. She'd continued talking to him. She'd been keeping it from me all this time. I showed her the text, my hand trembling. Her face went pale. Victor, but I interrupted her. No more lies, Claire. No more pretending. I turned away, the anger burning in my chest. This wasn't just about a kiss anymore. This was about everything she'd hidden. This was about the betrayal that ran deeper than I could ever have imagined. The room felt suffocating as Claire stood there, frozen, staring at the text. I could see the panic in her eyes, the guilt and the realization that she had crossed a line she couldn't take back. It wasn't just one kiss. It wasn't just some innocent flirtation. It was a secret, something deeper, something I hadn't known, something I still didn't fully understand. She reached out again, but this time, I didn't back away. I stood there, my body tense, waiting for her to speak, to give me some kind of explanation that could make sense of the mess she had created. But all she could manage was a stammered, "Victor, please." My mind was racing, and in that moment, everything I thought I knew about our relationship, the trust, the love, the life we built together, felt like a lie. Why didn't you tell me, Claire? Why hide it? If it was just some mistake, some one-time thing, why keep talking to him? Why keep it going? Her lips trembled, but she didn't answer right away. I could see her trying to find the words, but nothing came. What could she say? How could she explain away the messages, the late-night texts, the constant communication with Noah? How could she explain away the pain she had caused? I don't know, she finally whispered, almost too softly for me to hear. I didn't want to lose you. I didn't think it would get this far. I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. The words felt hollow, like a desperate attempt to cover up something that had already been exposed. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to look at her and see the woman I married, the woman I trusted with everything. But I couldn't. All I saw was a stranger, someone who had betrayed me in ways I couldn't yet fully understand. How long, Claire? I asked, my voice thick with emotion. How long has this been going on? Was it just the one time? Or is there more I don't know? Her eyes darted around, as if she were searching for an escape. For the first time, I saw fear in her face. Victor, please, she pleaded again, but I wasn't ready to listen. I needed answers. Tell me the truth, I said, stepping closer. How long has it been going on? How much of this am I supposed to ignore? Tell me, Claire. Tell me what's really been happening behind my back. She broke then. The tears fell freely, and her shoulders shook with the weight of the truth. I didn't want to hurt you. I never wanted this to happen. But it's been going on for months. It's not just Noah, there's been others. The words hit me like a slap. Others? Others? The world spun around me, and I felt my legs weaken. The betrayal wasn't just one isolated incident. It was a pattern of lies, of secret meetings, of things I never knew. How long had I been living in this illusion? How many times had she looked me in the eye, pretending everything was fine? I didn't know what to say. I couldn't speak. The realization that everything I thought I knew about our relationship had been a lie was too much to process. I had trusted her with my heart, with my life, and now that trust was gone. Claire was crying, begging for forgiveness, but I couldn't hear her. My mind was racing, my heart breaking with every passing second. You've been lying to me for months, I whispered, more to myself than to her. You've been living a double life. And I had no idea. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. The touch that used to comfort me now felt foreign, cold. Victor, please. I love you. I made a huge mistake. I'm so sorry. I shook my head. I didn't know if I could believe her anymore. How could I? I don't know if I can do this, Claire, I said, my voice barely audible. I don't know if I can forgive you. The weight of her betrayal was too heavy to bear. I had thought our love was unbreakable, but now it felt like it had been shattered into a million pieces. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. As the silence stretched between us, I realized something. No matter how many times she apologized, no matter how many tears she shed, nothing would ever change what had happened. The trust was gone, and with it, so was everything we had built together. I didn't know how long we stood there in silence. Her sobs were muffled, as though they were a distant sound, barely reaching me. I couldn't focus on anything but the words she'd just spoken. Others. I kept repeating that word in my head. The whole foundation of everything I thought I knew about Claire, about us, had crumbled in a matter of minutes. Her apology was falling on deaf ears. She reached for me again, her fingers brushing against my arm, but I stepped back, not knowing how to react. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to shout, to scream at her for everything she had done, but there was nothing left. I was too exhausted to fight. The anger was replaced with a cold, suffocating numbness. "Victor, please don't leave me like this," she begged, her voice trembling. "I've made the biggest mistake of my life. I'll do anything to make it right." I wanted to look at her. I wanted to be the man who forgave and healed things. But I couldn't. The thought of her in Noah's arms, of her lying to me for months, tore something inside me. I couldn't look at her the same way anymore. "I need time," I said, the words heavy on my tongue. "I can't do this right now." She nodded, stepping back, but I could see the desperation in her eyes. "Please, Victor. I love you. I never wanted to hurt you." But I was already walking away. Each step felt like it took me further from everything I had ever believed in. I needed space. I needed to think. I couldn't keep living like this, with doubt in my chest, and her lies hanging over me like a cloud. My mind raced, and as I stepped outside into the cool night air, the reality of what had happened settled in. I didn't know if I could ever go back to the life we had before. I pulled my phone from my pocket, my hands shaking. I had one number in my contacts that I hadn't called in years. My brother, Jake. We'd always been close, but things had changed after I married Claire. I had kept my distance, focusing on my family. But now, I needed someone to talk to, someone who knew me better than anyone else. The phone rang once, then twice. On the third ring, he answered. "Hey, Vic. What's going on?" "I need to talk," I said, my voice hoarse. "It's bad, Jake. Really bad." I didn't know what I expected when Jake picked up. Maybe just someone to listen, someone to help me make sense of the mess that was my life now. His voice on the other end of the line felt like the first thread of comfort in a long time. I could hear the concern in his voice when he asked again, "What's going on, man?" I took a deep breath, trying to steady my thoughts. The words felt stuck in my throat, but I knew I couldn't keep it inside anymore. "It's Claire. It's all falling apart." The moment I said her name, I felt the weight of it all come crashing down. My voice cracked just a little, and I hated myself for it. Jake was quiet for a moment, as if waiting for me to continue. "What happened?" he finally asked, his voice calm but serious. I could tell he knew this wasn't just some small argument. He had heard the tone in my voice. "She's been lying to me, Jake. For months. She's been seeing someone else. And not just one person. I found texts, messages. I heard things I can't even wrap my head around." There was a long pause on the other end. I could almost hear Jake processing everything. When he finally spoke, his words were slow and measured. "You need to get the full picture, Vic. What exactly did you find? Don't jump to conclusions." I felt a surge of frustration. "The full picture? What do you mean, the full picture? What's there to know? She's been lying to me, about everything. About Noah. About others. It's all been a damn lie." Jake didn't respond right away, but when he did, his voice was firm, almost like he was trying to snap me out of my anger. "You've got to be careful here. I get it. You're hurting, but you need to take a step back. You can't just act on impulse. You need to know exactly what you're dealing with before you decide what's next." I ran my fingers through my hair, letting out a sharp exhale. "I don't know what's next, man. I just don't. I feel like everything I've known is fake. The trust, it's gone. I don't even recognize her anymore." "You don't have to make any decisions tonight. Just take some time, think things through," Jake said quietly. "You've always had a way of making big decisions when you're calm. Don't let her lies dictate what happens next. You need to be clear about what you want." I leaned against the brick wall outside, letting his words settle in. He was right, of course. I didn't have to make any decisions right now. I didn't have to confront Claire again until I was ready. But the thing was, I wasn't sure I was ever going to be ready. The silence on the phone stretched, and for a moment, it felt like Jake was waiting for me to say something. But I didn't have the words. I couldn't even put into words how much this hurt. I had trusted Claire with everything, and now I was left standing in the wreckage, trying to figure out what to do next. "You okay, man?" Jake asked, his voice softer now, like he was trying to gauge how bad things really were. I wasn't okay, but I didn't want to admit that. "Not yet. I don't know," I said, my voice low. I don't know how I'm supposed to fix this. You'll figure it out, Jake replied. You've always figured things out before. But this was different. This wasn't just a problem I could solve with logic or reason. This wasn't about work or some other issue I could manage with my usual calm demeanor. This was about the woman I had loved for so many years. The woman who had betrayed me in ways I still couldn't fully understand. I don't even know where to start, I muttered. You start by taking care of yourself first, Jake said. Don't make decisions out of anger. And don't make any decisions until you've had some time to think. This is big, Vic. And you've got to get your head straight before you decide anything. I hung up the phone, not knowing what to do next. His advice was sound, but I was still lost. The weight of everything Claire had done was suffocating. How could I ever trust her again? How could I move forward from this? I walked back inside, feeling the chill of the night air still clinging to my skin. Claire was sitting on the couch, her face red from crying. She looked up when I entered, but I couldn't meet her gaze. I couldn't look at her right now, not after everything she had done. You spoke to someone? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't answer. What could I say? How could I explain the mess I was in when I didn't even have the answers myself? Her eyes filled with more tears, and she took a tentative step toward me. Victor, please, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. I swear. I turned away from her, unable to hear her apologies anymore. There were no words left to fix this. No amount of sorry was going to erase what had happened. Not now. The silence that followed was deafening. Claire's sobs filled the room, but I couldn't bring myself to turn around. I stood by the door, my mind still racing, my heart a mixture of pain, confusion, and, surprisingly, something else. A strange, quiet resolve. I realized that the weight of everything Claire had done, the lies and betrayal, had consumed me, but I didn't want to stay trapped in that feeling. I didn't want to let this one chapter define me, or us, forever. Maybe that's what was different this time. In the past, when things had gotten tough, I would have shut down, kept everything locked inside. But now, something inside me told me it was time to stop running from the truth. It was time to face it. I finally turned around, and Claire was still standing there, her eyes swollen and red from crying. The sight of her like that hit me harder than I expected. She was broken, but so was I. And maybe that's what we needed to admit to each other. We were both struggling, but we could try to rebuild, piece by piece. Claire, I said quietly, my voice thick with emotion, I don't know if I can ever fully trust you again, but I'm not ready to give up on us. Her tear-filled eyes widened as she stepped toward me, her hands shaking. Victor, I swear to you, I'll do anything. I'm so sorry for everything. I know I've hurt you in ways I can't undo, but I want to make it right. I want to rebuild this. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her words. This wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't going to happen overnight. But maybe that's what love was, learning to rebuild, to forgive, to grow together, even after everything has been shattered. I don't have all the answers, I said, my voice steadying. But I know that if we're going to move forward, it's going to take work. We have to be honest with each other. Completely. Claire nodded, her eyes filled with hope, as if she had just been given a lifeline. I'll do whatever it takes, Victor. I'll show you every day that I'm worthy of your trust. I stepped closer, and for the first time in days, I didn't feel the bitterness in my chest. Instead, I felt a small spark, an ember of possibility. Maybe it was hope, or maybe it was just the realization that we still had a chance. A chance to heal. Let's take it one step at a time, I said softly. We'll figure this out together, but it starts with honesty. With being real. No more secrets. Claire wiped her eyes, a soft smile tugging at the corner of her lips. One step at a time, she agreed, her voice shaky but strong. I can do that. We can do that. As we stood there, facing each other, I realized that no matter how broken we both were, we still had something worth fighting for. And that was enough.